If you've spent any time at all working as a sysadmin or a network engineer in a modern dual-stack or IPv6 only environment, I'm willing to bet you've run into this. You get this phantom issue that absolutely drives IT teams up the wall. Everything seems fine. Your basic connectivity tests, totally green. But the actual second you try to do something productive on the network, the whole thing mysteriously grinds to a halt. Well, in this explainer, we're going to unpack exactly why this happens. We're breaking down how maximum transmission unit, or MTU, issues cause these silent, devastating network stalls, and much more importantly, how you can fix them. Okay, let's get into it.
Here's a quick look at our roadmap. We'll start with the classic symptom, unlearn some stubborn IPv4 habits, and explore the PMTUD black hole. Then, we'll diagnose the drop right in the terminal, and finally, get into the technical fixes.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the classic IPv6 symptom. Small packets succeed, large transfers hang.
Picture this. You're sitting at your terminal, right? You fire off a standard ping over your IPv6 network. Boom, it succeeds effortlessly. You've got millisecond response times, zero packet loss, and you're thinking, great, network's up, we're good to go. But then, you try to actually initiate an SSH session. Or maybe you try to load a secure HTTPS web page or kick off a file copy. The initial TCP handshake completes perfectly, but the exact moment real data starts flowing, the session just abruptly, silently hangs. It just stalls out. Small packets zip right through, but large transfers completely hit a brick wall. Why? Well, to figure this out, we actually need to rewire how we view network traffic entirely.
Which brings us to Section 2, unlearning old IPv4 habits, and why treating IPv6 exactly like IPv4 is a recipe for disaster.
Look, the biggest reason this problem is so pervasive is that we treat IPv6 like it's just IPv4 with a longer license plate. It's really not. Notice the fundamental shift in the interface architecture here. On the left, we've got our good old familiar IPv4 setup. One interface, one IP address, like 192.168.0.10. Simple, right? But over on the right, a single IPv6 interface routinely has a whole handful of addresses active at the exact same time. You've got your link local address starting with fee80, global unicast addresses, temporary privacy addresses. They all just live side by side. This multiplicity is totally normal in IPv6, but it represents a massive shift in our baseline assumptions about how these devices communicate.
And because of this new architecture, the environments just behave differently. NAT, Network Address Translation, is practically absent in IPv6, mostly because every device is potentially globally routable now. Traditional broadcast traffic doesn't exist. Multicast takes over completely. But here's the real kicker for our mystery stall. Because security admins are so hardwired to the IPv4 world where everything hides behind NAT, their knee-jerk reaction is to lock down networks by blindly blocking all ICMP traffic. In IPv4, blocking ICMP might just break a ping and a know your sysadmin, but in IPv6, blindly blocking ICMP literally breaks the foundational mechanics of the protocol itself.
And that leads us perfectly into Section 3, the PMTUD black hole. Well, we'll look at the actual mechanics of a path MTU discovery failure.
When those large transfers hang, you're almost always staring down a PMTD failure. Let's define what that actually means. Path MTU discovery, or PMTD, is basically just the process a network uses to figure out the absolute maximum size packet that can safely travel from the source to the destination without needing to be chopped up or fragmented along the way. Think of it like a trucking company mapping out all the low bridges on a route before they dispatch an oversized load.
Now, speaking of sizing up the network, I need you to burn this number into your brain right now. 1280. In IPv6, 1280 bytes is the absolute, non-negotiable minimum MTU. This is a hard technical constraint dictated by the protocol itself. You should never, under any circumstances, configure an IPv6 network interface with an MTU lower than 1280 bytes.
Let's walk through exactly how this PMTUD black hole ends up swallowing your data. Step 1. Your source machine tries to send a big chunk of data, say an SSH key exchange, so it fires off a large IPv6 packet outbound. Step 2. Somewhere along the internet path, that packet hits a router that has a smaller MTU on its next hop. Basically, it hits our low bridge. Step 3. The router does exactly what it's supposed to do. It drops the oversized packet, but it immediately generates a warning, an ICMPv6 packet too big message, and sends it back to tell the source, hey, send smaller packets. But then we hit Step 4. That legacy firewall, configured by an admin who blocked all ICMP out of sheer habit, acts like a stubborn bouncer and just drops the message. The source machine never gets the warning.
Moving into Section 4, diagnosing the drop, let's look at how you can actually confirm this exact issue is happening on your servers.
You can run a really quick confirmation test right from your terminal using the ping6 command with a size flag. First up, you run ping6-s100 to your destination. Because the payload is tiny, well below that 1280 byte minimum, it slides easily through every single router and the ping succeeds. Next, you crank it up. You run ping6-s1400. Because 1400 bytes exceeds the standard MTU of some intermediary links, it absolutely requires path MTU discovery to work. If this command fails or times out, bam, you caught your network red-handed. A PMTUD black hole is officially confirmed.
Just to recap the logic of the test we just did, small packets get a pass because they naturally fit within all the link MTUs in the path. No PMTUD is required at all, so the transfer completes smoothly. Large packets fail because they exceed the MTU, the router tries to send that critical ICMPv6 Type 2 warning, but the firewall drops it. As a result, your poor source machine just sits there, completely blind, endlessly retransmitting that exact same oversized packet into an absolute void, and the transfer just hangs indefinitely.
Which finally brings us to Section 5, fixing MTU stalls and restoring the flow of large packets.
Take a good look at the ICMPv6 types listed here. Specifically, I want you to notice that required column. ICMPv6 is simply not optional. Look right at Type 2, the packet too big message. It is explicitly marked as must permit because it is absolutely critical for path MTU discovery. Blocking these messages, along with types 1, 3, and the 130 series, actively breaks core network operations like neighbor discovery protocol, error signaling, and, as we've just seen, MTU discovery.
So let's talk solutions. Your primary fix is actually pretty straightforward. You have to update your network policies to permit ICMPv6 Type 2, that packet too big message, inbound on all firewalls in the path. You just cannot treat it as a security threat, it's an operational necessity. Now, sometimes you don't actually control the intermediary firewall that's dropping the packet. In that scenario, you have an alternative fix. You can configure TCP MSS clamping on your local router interface. By dropping a command like IPv6 TCP adjust MSS 1440 on a Cisco router, you're forcefully telling the TCP handshake to negotiate a smaller maximum segment size right out of the gate. That way, you're ensuring the packets never grow large enough to trigger the MTU drop in the first place.
Which leaves us with this final thought. When was the last time you actually audited your IPv6 firewall rules? It is incredibly common to port over our old habits without realizing the damage they do to new protocols. Are your legacy IPv4 firewall rules silently breaking your modern IPv6 network? Go take a look at your ICMPv6 policies today. You might just solve the ghost haunting your network.